We're a much better team than we came up and represented ourselves.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of the Sac City Podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Vinny Milani, joined as always by my best friend in the whole entire world. He is Aaron the Mukesiah, king of the 7-round mock, Mukes. And below us, we have your boy, my boy, everybody's boy, and everybody's valedictorian. He is the reigning, defending, undisputed valedictorian of the show, AJ Johnson. Crowd goes wild. And the crowd goes wild. What's up, everybody? It's a beautiful April 25th evening here in the city. It is officially draft week. We are just a few days away from our Thursday spectacular evening of full greatness and fun. We've got episode 23 going underway here. We're going to be breaking down the AFC East and what those teams need in this year's draft. We've got a great show ahead of us. Gentlemen, how goes it? AJ, I'll start with you, Mr. Valedictorian.
Oh, stop it. I mean, don't stop it, but I'm good. I'm excited. It's draft week. It is upon us. As long as it felt like a month ago, that's how far away it is. It still blows my mind of how fast it got here. I'm super excited for Thursday. I'm super excited to go through the last two divisions. Looking at Aaron's mock unfold, it's been fantastic. I decided not to try to put mine out at the same time. That's just dumb. We'll release mine Thursday morning.
I was thinking all of us drop our first round mocks on Thursday morning, so that we have it on record of what it's going to be heading into draft night, so we can compare, we can discuss how many we got right, all that good stuff. I think that's how we have to shake it out today, shake it out this year. That's how it goes. But what I really think we need to do, most importantly, aside from everything that's going on, I think, depending on if Dylan gets valedictorian, I think we need a Full Sail academic decathlon. Like a Fun and Games Friday episode, just like they did in Billy Madison. Hopefully it doesn't end with gunshots. But we have to have a Full Sail academic decathlon for who is the true reigning, defending valedictorian. And because I didn't get it, I can be the judge. I can be the guy that says you just made us all lose. We're just dumber now for hearing whatever answer Dylan gives for an answer. So I think we need to have that for a Fun and Games Friday episode. That's where we're at here.
Well, I know one thing for sure. If there's a technology event, AJ will not win. If it has anything to do with typing or making something work right, AJ will not win. That'll be the event that AJ loses.
People right now, it'd be beautiful. I can text.
Hey man, this man, I don't think I've ever seen anyone in the entire world capitalize every single beginning of every single first letter of every single word in a sentence.
I've seen that multiple times. I'm not saying it's right.
Yeah, every time you read your text.
I don't even read my text.
Hey,
I put that shit out without even looking.
It's the best. It's the best. We've got a great show ahead of us, though. We're going to be diving into the AFC East in just a few moments, but we have a top story that I guess needs to be delved into here. Recently, on Saturday, I should say, Byron Pringle, former Kansas City Chiefs cornerback now. Who does he play for now? He's a Bears guy now?
Seriously, look at the graphic.
I'm looking at my notes to make sure I'm reading the right headline, okay? Byron Pringle was arrested on Saturday after Florida Highway Patrol allegedly found him doing donuts in his car on a state road with a small child in his back seat. According to the report, there was an adult man in the passenger seat and a male juvenile child in the left rear seat. I mean, come on, man. What? Why? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
See, hold on, Vinny. You should be slightly okay with what happened because we know how we get down in Florida. Like, everyone does donuts anywhere they can. What was dumb of him was he was doing this on a suspended license, like in a highway area. Like, that's the dumb part. Like, you don't bring attention to yourself.
That's
like,
the dumb part. Not doing
Wait. Not having a kid in the car,
in
not
the
having
car.
a child in the car doing donuts was the dumb part. But actually doing it on a suspended license?
Yeah, because you're bringing attention to yourself. You don't need to.
Hey.
And also, and I've seen so many conflicting reports about this child and the size. It's like they're using the word small child to trump it up. And then they're talking about a male juvenile. One said it was a teenager. So if he's 5'4" and he just hasn't hit his growth spurt and he's 13, he might be doing donuts on a go-kart outside himself. It's Florida. They do some wild shit out here. All I'm saying.
AJ is really putting Florida man in place right now. He's really
It always happens in Florida, like 20 miles from Tampa. Like, why is all this?
Wait. First of all, did you not know the originator of Ghost Ride the Whip and where that came from out here in the Bay Area? It's not just Florida. We've been doing these cars, these
bikes.
Hey, I will say this is completely off topic here. My street on Saturday was shut down because car people did a group meet in the middle of one of the busiest intersections on our road. So that happened. But one thing I wanted to bring up with this, and it made me think about this, is I saw recently in a press conference with Shaq Griffin for the Jags, cornerback for the Jags, he was talking about buying a new car. And he was like, I have a driver for those type of things. And the reporters were like, you have a driver, and lost their mind, like lost their mind in terms of like joking and stuff. He's like, yeah, I have a driver. When I get a new car, I drive it back to the house. But then I throw the keys to my boy and he starts driving it, and he drives me around. That's smart. That's smart right there. You have the money to get yourself a driver. I'm not saying always use your driver and like be completely reliant on a driver, but like we've seen too many times now that this shit happens. And now we got a jabroni getting arrested for doing donuts with a small, maybe medium size, maybe semi-large. The size is still up in the air. Child in the car. Well, not an infant though. We're not talking an infant. Infant is off the table.
No.
Small, medium, or large child in the car with Byron Pringle after he was arrested recklessly driving on Saturday. It was a slow news weekend here.
Wait. Before you just glaze over this, the reason I wanted to talk about this is not because of what it was or what happened. The reason I want to talk about this is because this is the prime example of we get an NFL player who came from a situation which was great in Kansas City, right? Got to play with the best quarterback in football in Patrick Mahomes, started to produce last year. He actually had a really good year last year, despite, not being very, prevalent on the team, right? He's like their fourth guy. He had almost 600 yards. It was a career year. Prior to that, he only had 160 yards at most in a season. This is a guy who doesn't have kind of a history of being great. You get signed to a contract, a one-year deal by the Chicago Bears, and then you go out and do this. You got signed to a $4 million contract, and it's only for 1 year. What do you think this does to people's careers? It kills them. And I believe in the chat, Bailey put in his career is over. You know what? Something like that could be very true. The fact of the matter is he's not talented enough to make those type of mistakes and continue to get contract after contract. It would not shock me if he doesn't get another opportunity in this situation. It just goes to show you once again that these guys sometimes don't have common sense. This wasn't to me about, oh, did he have a child? Oh, did he have a suspended license? Like the fact of the matter is you're a professional NFL football player. And you decided I'm going to go out on the weekend and I'm going to have a good time and I'm going to do donuts because that's what's cool. And to me, again, it just shows this level of stupidity that some of these players have. And Byron Pringle is just the latest example.
And the timing couldn't have been worse either. Like, I mean,
right before the draft.
Right? Where
Exactly.
we probably knew they wanted to look at towards a receiver. Like, now you're just giving them more reason to do so, whether they cut you or they suspend you, whatever the case is. Right now, your trust has dropped so low on the Chicago Bears. I mean, think of that. Of course, it's a new regime, but still. So
no, that's a great point. It's a great point. They're already looking for weapons, and you're not a great one. So now they're like, man, maybe we need to go up and spend a second-round pick on a wide receiver, not wait. Maybe we need to trade up, whatever the case may be. So just stupid.
Wouldn't have done if he was in a Hyundai.
Hey, is it Hyundai? Hyundai? How are we pronouncing it?
I always say Hyundai.
Hyundai?
It's officially a Hyundai, but I call it a Hyundai. A Hyundai.
Hyundai.
I'm gonna go not a Hyundai.
I'm gonna go with a Hyundai.
We ain't talking C notes. We ain't talking big bills. We're talking about a car.
All right. That was our slow news week top stories. I wanted to get into a question here. We can keep it quick. We can keep it short and sweet here. I just want to know from you guys before we move on to our AFC draft coverage, how much of the secondary football leagues you guys are concerning yourself with, whether it be watching it, following it in the news, reading about it. How much are you guys paying attention to these secondary football leagues? But by that, I mean like the USFL kicked off last weekend. The fan control football league's buzzing with T.O. apparently in it, and Johnny Manziel. That's happening. So Aaron, how much are you paying attention to these secondary football leagues?
Not much. I watched the first game of the USFL, the end of it. It was a pretty cool ending. It was a good game in Birmingham. There was a lot of people there. And then the very next day was Easter Sunday, and they were playing like all in the same location, right? So there was no fans. It was like 4 people in the stands, and nobody cared. I will say this. The USFL is at least a brand of football that you can watch. It is them playing football. The fan control football league, just get rid of it. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
It's
Johnny
wild.
Manziel, T.O., it is dumb. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if you're entertained by it. To me, it's the dumbest brand of football. I will never watch it. I watched it for 5 minutes, turned it off. It'll never come on my TV screen again. I don't care who plays in it. I hope
Michael Irvin
I
goes
hope
in there, you're not going to watch it.
Don't care. I hope the XFL, because they're trying to do this when they come out next year. They're trying to be innovative but change rules. I hope they're a little bit more intelligent about how they want to show the game and not just make it some gimmick. Because I think if you make it gimmicky, I think it's just gonna die like all the other ones have died. So USFL has its issues, but I do like the fact that at least it was a real brand of football and I could watch it. I could tolerate watching that. But other than that, I don't pay too much attention to it.
Hey, shout out new viewers here.
Hey, what's up, my guy?
I don't have much to say about the USFL or the fan control football league, but I will say, like, I was pretty into what the XFL was doing before the pandemic shut them down. It wasn't like amazing top-notch football, but it was 100 times better than the first go round of the XFL. And it was at least guys who acknowledge what the first one did for some players who were able to get into the league. You can see some of the talent showing. Some of the coaching from the XFL moved on to the NFL, and there's always been things from the XFL that the NFL has been able to take from them. That's where they got the whole Sky Cam situation from and everything from the NFL. And I think they're going to implement some of the ways they do the reviews in the NFL from the XFL. With those two leagues, not so much partnering, but at least willing to be in conversations with each other and work off of one another, I think we're in store for at least one true minor, so to speak, football league.
Either way, it'll be interesting, somewhat entertaining at times, somewhat comical, somewhat childish. Hey, at least no one's getting slimed in the end zone. I guess that's positive. But I don't know. Maybe that'll happen in the fan control football league. I don't know. But all right, thank you guys for answering that question for me. We're going to move on to the AFC draft. Before we actually fully move on, AJ, Mr. Valedictorian, Mr. Ya boy, my boy, everybody's boy. Please, God damn, there's so much B-roll in this. I'm scrolling down. Sorry.
Wait, what are you looking for?
I have to scroll down to the music, Feeding the Ducks, and then I got to scroll all the way back up to get the transition, and then I got to scroll back up to get the... Oh, God. All right, AJ, tell them where they can follow us at.
All right. If you are looking for the best shit show on the waves, Sac City Pod is the best of all. Whether it's a shit show or the best football damn show you ever gonna listen to, it is at Sac City Pod on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, on YouTube, and of course on TikTok. It is draft week, and we are getting better and better by the day. If you want to see Aaron's 7-round mock, at Sac City Pod on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to see AJ and Aaron and Vinny and Dylan's 1-round mock on Thursday before the draft, at Sac City Pod on all those platforms. If you want to be a part of the Sac City Podcast draft special on Thursday night, get in a video. 30 seconds if you want. It's okay. I know it says 1 minute. We love 1 minute. But if you're shy, give us 30 seconds. Who's your team? Who do you want them to pick? Why do you want them to pick it? And send it to saccitypod@gmail.com or one of those wonderful Sac City Pod socials that I just alluded to on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. Sac City Pod is here for you. Come join the area code. Be a part of the city, baby.
Beautiful. Our draft special is going to be red hot on Thursday. You are not going to want to miss it. It's going to be like last year we did it, and it was great. This year, we put in hours upon hours. We put like 60 plus hours last year. We put in 120 plus hours this year. I mean, it's a lot. A lot of times going into it, man. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have a great time with everybody. And we're not trying to take you away from the draft. We're only trying to be there with you to react.
No, that's cool. I think we can change that. We're trying to take you away. We can't show it live due to copyright, right? We don't have the rights, but we're going to do everything we can to get as close to showing it to you as possible. So whatever you're seeing on ESPN from those old heads and Mel Kiper and those guys over there that have been doing it for years that are outdated, nah, we got it fresh. They're not allowed to drink on the set. I'll be drinking, and we'll be giving you some great takes.
You got work to do. I don't know what you drink.
Hey, I'll be drinking. I'll be breaking it all down. I'm talking analysis. You're going to know. You're going to have up-to-date live picks. It's going to be fun. Get your videos in for that so you can be a part of it. I promise you Thursday is going to be legit. We're talking 4+ hours of just coverage, and it's a lot. So
it'll be more. Yeah. Well, Thursday. So we'll be doing it. We have our big.
No, I mean Thursdays is the start of 4+.
Yeah, and I just want to remind people we have our big draft special on Thursday, but we're also going to be covering it on Friday as well. So it's stacked. We are the place to be for this year's draft. So don't miss it. And bring your friends, bring everybody. Make sure you share. Let everyone know that the Sac City Pod is where it's going to be for the 2022 draft. Let's get into our AFC East coverage now and kick it off with the Buffalo Bills. Their picks are as follow. They need a cornerback, a running back, defensive tackle, and a few other things. They have the 25th pick in the first round, then they pick in the 57 for the second round, so on and so forth. If you are new to the show, we break it down very simple. We tell you who these teams need to be drafting, whether it be the first round pick, a second round pick, third round pick, we will specify, but we are telling you who these teams need to draft. Aaron, you have the Bills in the first round. Who do they need to take in the first round?
Yeah, so this one, I thought a lot about it. It's not going to be consistent with like the mocks I put out because the mocks are saying what I feel like the Bills are going to do. What I think the Bills should do is continue to build that offense and continue to give Josh Allen everything that he needs in order to win a Super Bowl. I'm going to start right at the running back position. We know they have Zach Moss. We know they have Devin Singletary, but they need an absolute game breaker, game changer. And we talked about him the other day, and that's Breece Hall. Breece Hall is a guy, he's just electric. When you're talking about an offense with already a Stephon Diggs, already a Josh Allen, the Bills have struggled to find that run game over the past couple of seasons, and this is the guy that can do it. He's electric out of the backfield. He is his awareness. He runs 4.3. He's a legit 3-down running back, and you don't have to worry about kind of mixing and matching Devin Singletary with the Zach Moss. He's smart. He's patient. He understands how to get to the second level, how to read blocks. His footwork is great. There's a lot of talk about not being used on third downs, or he doesn't have much experience catching the ball out of the backfield. But the fact of the matter is, in college, a lot of those backs don't because they don't throw to the running backs a lot. I think he'll be fine there. The only area that I see that he needs some improvement in, which most young guys do, it's obviously the pass protection. He does have some tread on the tires, right? Over 800 touches in college. But I think this is the guy that can come in day one and be an impact player on an offense that is already really, really good, if not great, and be a game changer for that team as they take the next step to the Super Bowl.
I like that pick. I like that a lot. I mean, we talked a lot about Breece Hall being the best running back in this draft. We talked a lot about him. But what I really want to talk about here with this pick before AJ goes next, it's the running back position, and it's the Buffalo Bills. With Devin Singletary, there was some spots during last season where Devin Singletary actually did very well. There were multiple games where he was a 100-yard rusher. He was producing. He was producing well for Buffalo. So what do you have to say to the people watching right now that are Buffalo Bills fans saying, we need a running back, but not as high as a first-round pick because Devin Singletary wasn't so bad last year?
Well, I mean, we've seen this over and over again, right? Devin Singletary wasn't a first-round pick. He was a third-round pick, and he's been inconsistent at best over the course of his first 3 years. He had a career year last year, but he still only touched the ball 188 times on the ground. And this is a guy that, yeah, at times he's going to have flashes, but he's not consistent enough. And what I'm talking about is a consistent running back to where you don't need to worry about switching it up. There's a reason why Devin Singletary and Zach Moss have gone back and forth over the last 2 years. There's a reason why Matt Breida came in there and had some touches over the past couple of seasons. It's because Buffalo doesn't trust that running game because those guys are too inconsistent doing it. To me, when you're a team that's this close to the Super Bowl, and we're talking an overtime game away with Kansas City, maybe that close, I think you don't have many holes to fill. We talked about maybe a slot receiver. We talk about a DB that they're in need of. But in that situation in the draft, I think they can wait until a later round to get that, and they'll be fine if they go get an electric guy like Breece Hall. And this is where you get the running backs. Get them for 5 years or 4 to 5 years, and then when they ask for that new contract, you just let them go, right? I know we don't like to say it, but that's the way the business is. Run them into the ground for 4 years and then send them on their way. Let them get their big contract with somebody else because there's always somebody willing to pay them.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. Those would have been the exact words I had. They clearly don't trust their running backs. I mean, how many healthy scratches are we going to have to endure from a Zach Moss before we say they need to do something at this position? You know, they thought they trusted Matt Breida. They let him go. Why not bring in a guy like Breece Hall who can help on so many different levels? I just hit a button. I have no clue what it does. Hopefully everything will be okay. So, I really like that pick. And honestly, the only reason I didn't make that exact pick, Aaron, was because I had just talked about him on Friday or last week. And when I saw it here, I was like, damn, that would have been a great spot for him. And I saw you had a lockdown. So I went another route. Maybe not as big of a need, some people may say, but they did lose Cole Beasley. Isaiah McKenzie came on strong, but I don't know how much they're going to put into him. And they added Jamison Crowder, but I still went with the wide receiver. And this guy for Josh Allen would be great because he's a deep ball threat. We know Josh Allen has a strong arm. I went with Alec Pierce out of Cincinnati. You guys know me and Cincy have our feels for each other. And Alec Pierce is one of those guys who was do-it-all type of guy for Desmond Ridder. One of the best stacking cornerbacks, just running verts and winning, getting the leverage on the quarterback and getting downfield for these open passes. Size and explosiveness. I mean, he's a 6'3" type guy, so he's got that ability to win in the end zone. But he ran an unofficial 4.33 in the 40, clocked in at an official 4.4. So he's got the quickness, he's got the acceleration, and his first couple steps gets him so far open that by the time the DB's covering up, he's going to have about 50 yards on you. Now, with Josh Allen, something he'll gain that Desmond Ridder kind of lacked last year. Desmond Ridder missed him on a lot of open throws, didn't lead him when he was separated by 3 and 4 yards at a time. I don't expect that being an issue with a guy like Josh Allen. Josh Allen loves to throw the ball deep. You can get this guy in on specific packages and hit him with the deep ball. He's got 13 deep receptions in the last 7 games last season. That's the type of guy that Josh Allen could have some fun with in his future years.
I know I'm really supposed to go into mine. I have a question for you. I know we'll be fine on everything, but I have a question for you with this. Just because of the fact that we did our top 10 wide receivers, and Alec Pierce was a name that I was like, where is he? I was trying to get an idea on where he ranks in wide receivers. And then with your pick here, round 2, pick 57. We had a prior show where it was going to be where we had John Mechie, who went in the second round around this same range. And John Mechie was ranked in 7-8 range for us. Alec Pierce wasn't in our top 10. So what did you see from Alec Pierce that makes him jump up and stand out to you worth a second round pick 57 pick?
So a part of this for me is the style and the talent of his play. The other part of me is this is that spot I was talking about where these receivers are just going to kind of put a bunch of pinballs in there, roll the crank and see who pops up. That's kind of the feel here. And with Alec Pierce, I think some teams are going to jump at him a little sooner just because of his size and explosiveness. John Mechie has a lot of questions, right? We know what his talent can be when he's fully healthy, but I don't expect John Mechie to stay fully healthy. I expect him to come in, impact in some places, probably end up getting really hurt, coming back the next season, impact in a couple places and getting hurt again. He's got a lot of issues internally that people have alluded to that may hinder him. Alec Pierce, I think some teams are going to jump at the idea, and you might be right. Maybe round 2 might be a little early, but I don't think coming back around for Buffalo that he would be there where they pick in round 3.
Vinny, I think part of that is it goes to what I kind of mentioned before with when you mock draft or when you say a player goes somewhere, a lot of time it's just about fit, style of play, what opportunity you're going to get when you're there. And I think AJ mentioned it when he talked about playing with the Josh Allen, right? That style of play that they want to do and going down the field when you have a Stephon Diggs who can work all over, and then you get a Gabriel Davis who's this big body receiver. If you have a guy that can stretch the field like that, excuse me, those things are things that those teams are going to be looking for. And maybe a John Mechie doesn't fit that skill set at that particular draft slot. But when we are ranking receivers, maybe we're talking about just total. I could see a situation where Alec Pierce going to the wrong situation, he becomes irrelevant. And that's the problem where we're like, oh yeah, he wasn't a top 10 guy versus just a talent, skill set, or body type alone. I think he has that. But I do think he has to be in the right situation in order for a team and a quarterback to exploit those assets. Because I don't know that you put him in any situation and he just starts thriving right away. I think it matters where you go. And I think Buffalo is that spot that AJ is talking about with the great quarterback that you don't have to do too much. Go be a deep threat early, and then you can develop that way.
Fair enough. Hey, yeah. It makes sense. That makes sense. I like the pick. I like it a lot. And I've heard a lot of good things about Alec Pierce. People are calling him a sleeper. People are liking him a lot. So I would not be surprised if he goes there, and it's a good pick for.
Oh, by the way, took my spot because I was going to go Alec Pierce to another team in the AFC East.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
Interesting.
That's what I love about these shows. It's like you have to. It is first come first serve with our doc. We have the doc made, and whoever gets those players in first, that's yours. And if you lose it, it's done.
I thought I'd be back into a corner.
Yeah. For the first time, AJ had his players in before everybody here. So shout out AJ for making that happen. I'm going to go next here to close the Buffalo Bills out here, and I'm going to the 3rd round. And before I bring up my player, I want to pull this bad boy up. We listed that cornerback as a need for the Buffalo Bills. This is their cornerback depth chart: Tre'Davious White, and then everybody else. It really isn't that much. You lost Levi Wallace to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I will say Teron Johnson did play well in the slot this past year for the Buffalo Bills, but you need one more. And I'm not saying go 1st round. I'm not saying go 2nd round. I'm not even saying go 3rd round, although after watching him, and I'm really liking him a lot more, I'd go in the 3rd round for this guy. Talked about him on Friday's show. If you missed it, he's my sleeper of this draft. It is Mario Goodrich, the cornerback out of Clemson. There it is. Mario Goodrich, cornerback out of Clemson. I'm stamping this. Mario Goodrich will be a better cornerback than Andrew Booth in the NFL. Boom. That's what's going to happen. He is the best corner from Clemson this year. He has been the best cornerback at Clemson since 2014. According to PFF, at least. According to PFF, those are the rankings. Those are the statistics there that I'm feeding you guys. The Buffalo Bills need a cornerback. This man let up no touchdowns in 2021. He is a solid cornerback. He's not going to wow you. He's not going to pick the ball off every play. I talked about it on Friday's show. He's not going to be able to make those spectacular plays, but he is going to be able to shut down your number 1 guy. And we have to bring it up. Who came into the AFC East this year? You got Tyreek Hill twice a year. You got Stephon Diggs twice a year. You got Jalen Waddle twice a year. You got, if the Jets draft a wide receiver, you got that guy twice a year. You need a cornerback, and Mario Goodrich is going to be that guy. I saw you shaking your head back here. He's going to be better than Andrew Booth. Book it. I'm willing to come back to this 5 years from now.
You have lost your damn mind. And you know what? I don't know what Bengals fans have done to you, but if you mention PFF one more time on your stats in a show, you don't even got a subscription, you told them. And now you're over here quoting, he's the best corner because of PFF. Stop it. Just stop it. I'm not saying Mario Goodrich can't be good. But number one, first show some more respect to Teron Johnson, local boy, Sheldon High School right here in Elk Grove. Stand up. He's been doing this thing. I know. I was just trying to throw it out there. He's from my town. Went to Sheldon High School. That's my boy.
PFF said he ranked 7th in the league among average yards allowed in the slot or something like that. I disregarded that because I didn't need Teron Johnson stats. But if you want to go
appreciate
there,
that.
I'll go there.
I'm just saying, I just wanted to throw out some love for the local boy out here in Elk Grove. So again, shout out to Teron Johnson. But listen, when you're talking about a Mario Goodrich, to debate whether he's better than Andrew Booth right now is just asinine. I mean, you can list all the PFF stats you want. This is a guy that had a lot of penalties at Clemson, especially on deep balls down the field. His awareness, keeping close with receivers. He's very heavy-footed. I'm not saying he can't turn into a decent corner, but there's a reason why he's being evaluated where he's at. He could be a sleeper. He could turn out to be okay. And I'm not saying it's a bad pick, so I don't want people to think that I'm bashing your pick. Because in the 4th round, you get a guy with some potential. You get a guy that did play well in college at times. I think you're okay there. But to say he's going to go out and be better than Andrew Booth, who is only dropping in draft boards right now because of an injury that there's questions about and they're unsure. I think we need to slow down on that point. Because, again, I was also going to go with the corner for the Bills in round 1, and that was going to be Andrew Booth at 25. So
it wouldn't be bad to get 2, to be honest.
I just want you guys to stop saying he's going to be better than Andrew Booth because that is a stretch.
1, he's going to be better than Andrew Booth. And 2, I don't know if you watched the Cheez-It Bowl this year, but Mario Goodrich was the MVP of the Cheez-It Bowl, not Andrew Booth. I don't know if Andrew Booth played in it.
You lost me at I don't know if you watched the Cheez-It Bowl.
And then I also I cannot confirm nor deny if Andrew Booth actually played in the Cheez-It Bowl. But Mario Goodrich, Buffalo Bills, round 4, pick 140. Book it right there. Let's move on to our next team. It is going to be the New England Patriots. Oh, boy. Aaron, it's the New England Patriots. They need a cornerback, a wide receiver, a safety. They got the 21st pick in the 1st round if they don't trade back like they normally do. And then the 54th pick, we will see what they do with their picks. But there is no place better to start than with our resident Patriots hater.
No, realist.
Realist. Sorry, realist.
Let's.
It's gonna be my new term for hater. I'm a realist.
Wow, did it really do that?
Yeah, it did.
Christ, it deleted my B-roll. Yeah, start with AJ.
Okay.
Well,
he goes, yeah, start with AJ.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay. Not the resident realist. Wait, that came out wrong. Damn it. Off to a booking start. Once again, I went a little different here. I know I saw the cornerback, wide receiver, safety. I'm thinking about this defense, and I'm thinking about a guy who can hold down the defensive anchor. We got guys who are a little older in that locker room now, like the Donta Hightowers, and they brought Malcolm Butler back. We don't have to talk about that. So the guy I went with is going to be a steal. And it's kind of funny to me because once again, the Patriots can just sit back and wait and allow this player to fall to him in my opinion. And that guy is Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from Georgia. This guy is legit. People are talking about him possibly being the best linebacker next to Devin Lloyd. Those guys are arguably bashing it out. But if you talk about this guy, Nakobe Dean, and you badmouth him because of his testing at the combine, you are doing yourself a disservice as a team because Nakobe Dean, despite his numbers, plays faster, plays tougher, plays stronger than just about any defensive player in this draft. This guy's a freak athlete. He can get from side to side. He can get north and south. He can get to the quarterback. He's built like a running back. You would almost imagine he probably played some running back the way that he breaks down these plays and is in the backfield so often. Now, I mentioned how good he breaks down plays. I still think in the NFL level, he's going to need to be a little faster at it, but that will come with time and development and learning the game on that professional level. Georgia has been pumping out good linebackers for the past 5-6 years. Nakobe Dean is just another one of them right in that stock. The Patriots get him, they would happily run that card up to the podium and be very thrilled with the player they got. Nakobe Dean, round 1, pick 21, book it.
That's a good pick. That's a great pick. I think Nakobe Dean is like the Sac City Pod, like unanimous, like one of our guys here at the Sac City Pod. Aaron, you started. I'm not going to take credit from you, but you started the love for Nakobe Dean, and I think we've all hopped on that train.
Fun fact. I'll give away a mock draft pick. That's who I have going to the Patriots. So
nice.
Look at you. And you have not shared that mock draft with anybody but myself. So that's a solid pick right there. That is a solid pick. I will go next, and I will go with another SEC guy though, but not in the first round. I'm going to go in the third round for the New England Patriots, and I am going to take Jalen Armour Davis, the quarterback out of Alabama. Yes, I know what you're saying. Not an Alabama guy for the Alabama fan. No, that's not what I'm going to say in here. This guy right here, Jalen Armour Davis, he is built like an NFL cornerback when you look at him. He's got raw talent. He is all SEC cornerback last year. He is perfect for the third round and perfect for a New England Patriots team that just lost J.C. Jackson. He's got high upside. He's patient. He's a former track star. So, hey, you got Tyreek Hill in that division. You're going to be able to keep up with a Tyreek Hill. He's got great recovery speed. I know what you can say, Aaron, about this. He's very raw. Like, that's one of the biggest things I've read about him. I've seen about him. I've watched it. He is very raw. His technique is very raw. He has the tendency to get beat from time to time. But the thing that stood out to me was what I just said right there, his recovery speed. And his speed, that's key word with him, speed. He's fast. He's athletic. He recovers great. He's an athlete, like we say on the show all the time. And I think he'd be a perfect fit for the New England Patriots in the third round.
I don't actually have an issue with it. I do think he is raw, but if you're going to be a raw corner, what better spot to go to than New England, right? With Bill Belichick, who's developed a number of corners over the years that we weren't really highly touted out of college or anything like that. So I actually like the pick here. They definitely need help in that secondary after losing a guy like J.C. Jackson. I know Malcolm Butler's going to try to, make some resurgence in his career, but I like Jalen Armour Davis. I think he can be something like kind of a project that Bill Belichick can mold into what he wants to be. There's going to be ties there with Nick Saban and Bill Belichick. So you got to like that aspect of it. For me, I also went with the secondary. I went deep. You went third round. I went so deep. I don't know. People might not even know who this is.
Yikes.
He did play in the Big Ten, but I went with the corner. And it's Tariq Castro Fields, not Justin Fields, but Tariq Castro Fields from Penn State. You mentioned like the length and being that kind of like prototypical guy. This is a 6-foot corner he understands defense. And the reason I always go to players like this in New England is because they only draft smart football players. He is a very, very smart football player. He's not the most athletically gifted. He's a long strider. He can get up to his speed quickly and stuff like that. But he's just a smart football player. And he's a guy that wants to hit. He comes up, he makes defensive plays. He's not gonna shy away from the run game. To me, I look for a fit. I think this is a fit for New England and a guy that's very, very football intelligent. And that's what Bill Belichick tends to draft. It's the same reason why I was going to go with an Alec Pierce there. It's the same reason why I would talk about Nakobe Dean going to New England. He wants smart football players. He will choose smart football players over athletic football players every time. And so I wanted to stay consistent with that. You'll see that in my mock draft. Every player that I have mocked to New England is a smart, intelligent, high football IQ guy, leadership at their school type stuff. Because I think that's what New England tends to go for. And don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think it's going to work because football's different now. They continue to do the same thing. But for guys like Nakobe Dean and then Tariq Castro Fields, who has some upside, but it will be a project. I just think that's where New England tends to look. So I went there.
We all did like smart picks for New England. Those character guys, Nakobe Dean coming out of Georgia, smart guy. Jalen Armour Davis coming out of Alabama, Nick Saban connection, and then Mr. Fields coming out of Penn State, a smart cornerback there. Solid picks all around. Oh boy, it's the Miami Dolphins. They are next here on our list. They need a center, a tackle, a defensive line. And I can say all of their picks in one breath. They have the 100, 102, 125, 224, and 247. That's their picks in this draft. They almost have as many picks as needs that we listed. It's great for the Miami Dolphins because they went out and acquired Tyreek Hill. So they don't have a first round pick. We all started at pick 102 for them. All of us have a good pick at 102. AJ, you can kick us off.
All right. All right. So I like the fact that we all have these wonderful like minds and understand kind of what needs to happen here. I'm not going to overthink it. The Miami Dolphins did right by Tua to get him some weapons to throw the ball to. They got him some weapons in the backfield to run the ball. Now they need to get him some protection, and they have the blessing to focus that on the draft. So I went with the tackle out of UCLA, Sean Ryan. This guy is just a natural athlete for his size. Like some of those other big guys, he's got a rugby background, was actually qualified to be on the Olympic team for rugby. He's got quick and powerful hands, and he's probably going to slot in at a guard spot, but he can also play tackle, which gives you some versatility to see if Liam Eichenberg has taken a step forward or if this guy's ready to come in day one. He's massive lower half. He's got insanely large hands. So when he's at the punch, that packs a great size of power, and he drives. When he's pushing through, he's driving. If he's finding himself back, he's dropping you down to the ground. He's finding his ways out of tough spots. He obviously isn't polished. We're talking about a round 3 pick here. He's going to need to get some of the technicality a little bit better, need to get his base a little wider. Sometimes it gets him slow from the step. But other than that, I think he's going to be slotted in very well in maybe the back half of the season in a pinch, or starting next season, you might see him be one of their top tier guys.
Yeah, I think we're all consistent here. I think we all were focused on what Tua needs to kind of improve, and especially up front with the Miami Dolphins. I also went offensive line. I went an interior guy as well, but he has the position, or he has the ability to play both outside and inside. I think their biggest need is a center, but I stayed away from center here. I went with Matt Boletsko. Matt Boletsko, again, a guy that we're talking about from excuse me, from North Dakota, who is one of my sleepers. As a matter of fact, on Friday's show, had I been on the show, he would have been my sleeper pick. He is actually climbing up draft boards. He had a great showing at the Senior Bowl. He's really, really long, has excellent arm length. He can put on a little bit more weight, but he has really good initial quickness. He can get in the zone run game. He can backside cut off. He can get into combo blocks. He has really, really solid movement to climb to that second level. I think if you're trying to build an offensive line with a run first and then deep play action to Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill, you kind of want those type of guys. I think he'll probably start the season as a backup for behind Robert Hunt, who, is famous for the play last year. But I think it's a guy that by the end of the season could take a job if Miami goes and selects him there at 102. Again, I do think center's more of a pressing need for them. But I think if you get a guy like this is going to be a staple on your offensive line for years. I would not be shocked. I know we have it third round. I would not be shocked if this guy goes in the second round. Matt Boletsko, keep your eye out for him. He's been climbing up draft boards. Third round, pick 102.
It's a good pick. That is a good pick. And we all went offensive line. Like, that was the biggest thing for the Miami Dolphins with the first pick. You've gotten your weapon for your franchise quarterback. Now you got to protect your franchise quarterback. You brought up the center position, though, and that is where I went. AJ, it's a Lindstrom. It's a Lindstrom for me. It is Alec Lindstrom, not Chris Lindstrom for the Atlanta Falcons, but his younger brother, Alec Lindstrom from Boston College. Aaron, this guy, I know, I hear it now. He's undersized. That's the first thing you're going to tell me after this. But he is arguably the smartest player in this draft when it comes to just knowing the game, his football IQ. He's got great control, and he's mobile. He's a bully. He's got all the characteristics of a good center, which is exactly what the Miami Dolphins need. But the biggest thing, and I talked to our resident X's and O's guys on the show, the Muxiah, about scheme fit here, because I was like, I think this is a good scheme fit for the Miami Dolphins. He fits that outside zone run heavy type of offense. That's exactly what's coming over here from the San Francisco 49ers. That's the new system here in Miami. So that is what Alec Lindstrom is perfect and a perfect fit for. We said they needed a center. I believe, AJ, you were the one talking about coming in, being a backup, or Aaron was talking about coming in and being a backup, might not play at the start of the season, but eventually earns that job. That's exactly what Alec Lindstrom can do here behind Dieter at center. He could end up taking over that center position by season's end and be that anchor right in the middle for Tua Tagovailoa moving forward. But he's undersized. I'm sorry, Aaron. I went undersized.
I wasn't even going to go there. I actually like the pick a lot. I do think they need a center. I won't even say any negatives. I won't say anything.
Don't lie to me. You can say negative.
No, I won't say any. I won't say anything at all. I like it. Yes, he's undersized, but that doesn't matter. At center, that's the one position you can be undersized. We've seen great centers be undersized, and I don't think it's a big deal. If he's an undersized guard and, he's got to go up against those bigger defensive linemen, then maybe. But as a center, your main thing is to control the line of scrimmage, to, obviously you mentioned his intelligence and his high football IQ. That's more important to me than his size. If he's able to get good leverage and be able to combo block and get to the next level, there's very few teams that at this day and age, in this style of football, with so many outside zone schemes and so many read option schemes, that are lining up guys right over the center and say, just go demolish the center. It's not like that in the NFL very much anymore. So he's free to kind of roam, get some leverage, get some momentum. He's going to be going to the second level, blocking linebackers a lot. I don't think it's a huge disadvantage to be as if you were a guard. So I really like the pick.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you. And it's in his blood.
You're welcome.
It's good. He's a Lindstrom, AJ, you know all about that. You know all about that.
Oh my God.
All right, last teams of the evening. It is the Jets. Jets. They're on the clock here. They need a safety, a linebacker, a cornerback, amongst other things for the New York Jets. They hold the 4th and the 10th pick in the first round, followed by the 35th and the 38th in the second round. The New York Jets are primed to keep rebuilding this team, keep building around Zach Wilson, and moving forward in the right direction. But what pieces do they need in this draft? Aaron, you have pick 4 for the New York Jets here.
No,
or AJ has pick 4 for the New York Jets. Wrong A name. My bad.
It's okay, because I like this. I like this way. Me and possibly Aaron next. This is a very good combination, because the interesting thing about this is Aaron and I clearly differ on when they need to do something here. We understand with your pick 4 for the Jets and your pick 10 for the Jets, you're trying to get the best combination of those two, unless you're trying to get Deebo Samuel, but that's another conversation. I am sitting here at 4 thinking that the best thing that they could go and do right now is to go and get themselves a lockdown corner. And there's no other corner that is as locked down as Ahmad Sauce Gardner out of Cincinnati. Round 1, pick 4. This guy might be the best cornerback prospect since Jalen Ramsey. Tall, lanky, quick, violent, and great ball skills. This is a guy who has shut down an entire side of the field, who loves to let people throw at him because he's going to do what's best for his team, and that's winning at the point of contact. Allowed just 6.6 yards per catch total in 2021, not to mention against your Alabama Crimson Tide, only allowed 14 yards on 3 catches and 4 targets in the playoff semifinals. Now, we know they didn't win, but it wasn't because of him. 0 touchdowns given up in his entire 3 years of his career, only allowed 60 catches and 138 yards total over 3 yards in man-to-man in over 3 years in man-to-man coverage. Obviously, like anybody else, he's going to have weaknesses, but these weaknesses for a guy like Sauce Gardner is you having a nitpick to find things that you can help him improve on the next level, because he's ready to go. This guy is going to be a game changer after losing a guy like Marcus May, not having too many great cornerbacks still on your roster. A lockdown guy at 4, grab him and don't look back. You can make some good choices at 10 after making that decision.
Sauce Gardner is just – you two love Sauce Gardner, and he is really just flown up in this draft process. Like, he has just been like, because it was originally Derek Stingley as the number 1 corner, and then it came fast that Sauce Gardner went ahead of him. You ever just have a feeling about a guy where it's just either he's a bust or like a star in the making? Like, you ever just have that feeling? You can't explain what that feeling is, but you just have that gut feeling. You guys have that before?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
I just have a weird feeling that Sauce Gardner is not going to be as good as you guys think he is. I have no stat like people are going to just eat me like alive. They're going to bury me on the internet.
No, it's fine to have that. It's fine to have that. You're wrong, but it's fine to have that.
I don't.
Sauce Gardner is going to be an elite defensive back in the NFL. There are so many reasons why he's going to be an elite defensive back. His production at Cincinnati is just some of those reasons. That he has the perfect build to be an elite defensive back. He has very good hands, very good footwork, ball skills, leverage, like everything he does. If you watch him and watch an elite defensive back, he's that. It's the prototypical elite defensive back, everything he does. There's very few positions in the NFL that translate directly. Like the game changes when you get to the NFL. But so many offensive schemes do in college now what the NFL does with these spread it out, pro style, quick screen game. That's what he's seen his entire career. Nothing is going to be new to him in that sense. It's just covering wide receivers. And when you're a man-to-man guy majority, which he is the majority, there's going to be a team that just says, go lock down that side of the field. And he's going to be like, okay, I've done that my whole life. For him, it's easy. For Jalen Ramsey, it was easy. For Patrick Peterson, it was easy. Like these guys that were such high commodities coming out of college, for those guys, it's not a big deal. They've been doing it their whole lives. Those are the prototypical cornerbacks. That's what Sauce Gardner is. I don't think there's any doubt that in 3 years, we're going to be talking about Sauce Gardner as one of the best cornerbacks in football.
That's fair. I'm not saying he can't. I'm not saying he can't. It's just
I know what you're feeling, but I'm not discounting your feeling because I have that feeling about guys all the time. Chris Olave, for instance, everybody tells me he's going to be great. I can't dispute what he's done. I just don't think he's going to be great. Like that's a feeling I just get. So you're not alone in that, having that about guys. I feel like that's a commonplace, especially when you're evaluating talent, and we've seen it before, right? We've seen guys that were supposed to be great and they turn out not to be. So I did think it was interesting. And I went this route on purpose because everybody I know has the Jets at 10 going receiver after taking Sauce Gardner at 4 or Stingley or one of the defensive backs, or maybe even an edge rusher or something. You brought up a depth chart earlier. I'm going to name some names here. Bryce Hall, Brandon Equals, Michael Carter II, not the Michael Carter running back, Javelin Guidry. These are the defensive backs. They do have DJ Reed, which came over from Seattle. Their free safety is Ashton Davis. I don't know who that is. And then they got Jordan Whitehead. The secondary is an issue. It's a big issue. We watched what they did last year in a Vera Tucker, a Michael Carter, and Elijah Moore. I thought they had an amazing draft. I think that continues this year with all their picks. I don't see it changing. I haven't seen this yet, but if you can get Sauce at 4 and this man right here at 10 and Kyle Hamilton, you instantly become a threat as having one of the better secondaries in the NFL. And I'm going to say it. This guy right here, there's people talking that he doesn't have the size or the measurables or whatever, the speed. I don't know what they're talking about. This is a football player. He is everywhere on the field, and he's an absolute playmaker. If the Jets get him alongside a Sauce Gardner, that secondary is going to be a problem. It's like Miami last year with kind of with their secondary. Rare length, movement, his ability to get into passing lanes and create mismatches. He can guard tight ends. He has a very good feel in zone coverage. He can play underneath coverage. He can go drop back and play deep. Some people have said he's kind of like a Jamal Adams, but I don't see that. I think he's a little bit better in the pass game. Jamal Adams kind of just lost that completely. But when tracking the ball, there's nobody else like him in this draft at the safety position. I think with him and Sauce Gardner, the Jets have a huge difference on the defensive side of the football, and it fits what Robert Saleh wants to do. Give me some Kyle Hamilton at 10. Forget going Drake London. Forget going Jamison Williams. You got Elijah Moore. You signed Braxton Berrios. I say go with the defense and call it a day.
I just want to applaud you. That was fantastic. I have not seen that. And because of all these media pundits saying it the same way, the thought didn't even really enter my mind. Like, I honestly thought you were just like, well, I think they should get their receiver at 4 or maybe the edge rusher, because a lot of people think they want to get an edge rusher like a Kayvon Thibodeau at 4 and then get Kyle Hamilton at 10. This would be the best mesh that they can do to solidify that backfield. Now, even if they're not getting pressure, you guys are locked down in the back. And the way Kyle Hamilton plays football, you can talk about his speed being lacking or you wish there was more explosiveness or somewhat, but at the same time, every time you see the ball and a play come to the end, you're going to ask, how the hell did Kyle Hamilton get there? He is always around the ball. He flies to the ball. He gives 110 in effort. I love that idea. That would be a great 4 and 10 stack for the Jets. We talked about it. Receivers are deep. You can get this in the second round. You can trade back into the first round if you really, really want to. You don't need – I think this would be a perfect way to go. Sauce at 4, Kyle Hamilton at 10, and you're a very, very happy team.
I'm on your side on this one, especially with the fact that what you just brought up, AJ, with the fact that they could easily take a wide receiver at 35 or 38 or package those 2 picks to come back in and get a guy who we all love in Jahan Dotson in at pick 20 in the draft. Like if you tell me the Jets end up with Sauce Gardner, Kyle Hamilton, and Jahan Dotson in this draft, that's on Friday we're talking about how the Jets won the draft. Or on Saturday we're talking about the Jets won the draft.
Excuse.
It's impossible. That's perfect. That is a perfect first 3 picks for the New York Jets. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen. I went a little deeper for the New York Jets here. I went in round 4, pick 111. I went super deep for this one, like Aaron deep, kind of on this one. Maybe not Aaron deep because he went round 5, but I went round 4 here. My pick is you just got a friend request from the most basic name in college football. I present to you Zach Tom, the tackle out of Wake Forest. Zach Tom, man, the name does not do it justice. This dude is undersized. Sorry, Aaron. But when you look at his measurements, he's actually not that undersized. His measurements in terms of arm length, hand size, it all matches up with your prototypical NFL starting left tackle. So he's got that. And AJ, I'm sorry to do this to you, but he absolutely dominated Jermaine Johnson when they played Florida State, to the point where Florida State had a game plan around Zach Tom and get Jermaine Johnson on the opposite side to avoid this guy. He's technically polished in pass protection. Like, he is solid. I'm not sure how this guy is not higher on draft boards after what I've seen. He's got sorry for the PFF reference here, Aaron, highest offensive line grade from PFF since 2015 in the ACC. Like, this dude is a monster. He's got the frame for an interior offensive lineman. He played 2 years at center, but he's been solid at left tackle. And with the New York Jets, you can literally have your 2 bookends for Zach Wilson in Mekhi Becton and Zach Tom. And I know they've got, I can't remember the guy's name that's their starting left or right tackle right now. He played solid last year. You can have Zach Tom come behind him and replace him the following year and be your starting right tackle. This is a perfect pick for the New York Jets, in my opinion.
George Fant.
George Fant. He had a good last year. He had a good season last year, from what I read, from what I saw on film.
When he checked PFF.
No.
Thank you, Bengals fans, for sending Vinny $17.99 for a subscription to PFF. I appreciate it.
You know they process that, right? Throw it up.
So I actually really, really like this pick. And the reason I feel like he is dropped is because in the run game, he doesn't generate much push. A lot of it's just stand kind of straight up stalemate type stuff. And in running games, they want push on the line. So I think that's what is kind of holding him back. From a pass protection standpoint, I really like him. I agree with you. I don't know what else there is outside of maybe that physicality to just kind of push guys back. That is keeping him from kind of going up on draft boards. I actually did a player comp with him when I was going through my mock draft. He reminds me a lot of Mitch Morse, kind of like Mitch Morse, who's been a really good offensive lineman, right? We talk. I think there's some potential here, and if the Jets can get, now you're talking in the 4th round, a guy like this, the Sauce Gardners, the Kyle Hamiltons, the Jahan Dotson, or even some of those 2nd round edge rushers and wide receivers, they are going to have a chance to have a really, really good draft here and supply Zach Wilson with everything he needs to be successful his 2nd year. I'm not saying they're going to win a Super Bowl or division, but to take that next step in which we talk about that sophomore year a quarterback needs to take, they are going to be set up to do that with a lot of young talent. It's going to be up to Robert Saleh to get that, but I really like the Zach Tom pick as well.
Could be better than the New England Patriots next year. I don't know.
Oh, first of all, I know I said that last year. I'm going to say it again this year. The New York Jets will be better than the Patriots because the Patriots are doing nothing. And today they traded their 6th rounder for 2 7th rounders.
He's so like mad they're trying about that.
Dude, it makes no sense. Bill Belichick, you're the GOAT and all that stuff, but Jesus Christ, man. Stop it. You're not smarter than the entire world. Stop it.
As long as Mac Jones is the quarterback for the New England Patriots, the Jets will always finish higher than the New England Patriots, no matter what happens. Absolutely. That does it for another episode of the Sack City Podcast. We'll be back again on Wednesday for more New England Patriots. What was the word, AJ? What was the word that he used?
Realism.
Realists. More New England Patriots. Realists from AJ, from Aaron Mukes over here. We're talking the NFC East. We're going to break down their draft needs on our final draft show before the draft on Thursday. You're not going to want to miss it live at 8 p.m. Eastern time right here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Belly Up TV. Until then, for my best friend Aaron Mukes and for the valedictorian, your boy AJ Johnson, I am me. We will see you Wednesday.
Peace out.
We know we were a much better team than we came up and represented ourselves.